So Half Century Farms says, so what are some of the things that you are doing to prepare? Yeah, I'm...
Not enough. I know that we're doing some things and that we're arming ourselves in some ways, but at the same time, it's one of those things that you never feel like it's going to be enough.
What I don't want is I don't want to pander to fear. Yeah, a crisis can come in many forms. It can come on a national level where, we're having hyperinflation and extreme struggles throughout like the entire nation. It could come worldwide, or it could be just like a locally centralized event that causes a crisis in your specific life. Anything from, medical problems, health
Been
issues.
there, absolutely.
Losing a job, getting an unexpected financial strain on your family. All these things are a crisis and an economic crisis in your life. We always look at things in our life, in our family, from a biblical point of view and a biblical worldview. So whenever I have a question, I like to look at examples from the scriptures to kind of give us insight as far as what we can do.
I think you're gonna Joseph in Egypt.
Man, you know me so well.
I got it.
You know me so well. So the first thing that came to my mind
was it really? Was I right?
Yes.
Yay!
Yes, exactly. Was the story of Joseph in Egypt. And if you're not familiar with the story, Joseph, through a series of unfortunate events in his own life, finds himself a slave in Egypt, and the Pharaoh has a dream, and Joseph is able to interpret that dream.
Yeah.
And he tells the Pharaoh, hey, you're going to have 7 years of plenty, but then after those 7 years of plenty, you're going to have 7 years of hardship and famine in the land, and it's going to be a widespread famine that's going to affect everyone.
Yeah.
And so Pharaoh's immediate response was, well, what should we do? And you can find the kind of breakdown of the story in Genesis chapter 41, and I'll read. It's not going to be a
Bless you. You're welcome.
not going to be a Bible lesson, but it'll just be a quick story. So in verse 33, it picks up, now therefore this is Joseph talking, it says, now therefore let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. And let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers over the land and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 years of plentiful years, or 7 plentiful years. And then let him gather all of the food of these good years that are coming and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and let him keep it. And that food will be a reserve against the land, for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. And so Joseph recommended this, and Pharaoh thought, well, hey, that's a pretty good idea, and put Joseph in charge of making all of that happen. And that's exactly what they did. So
It's really interesting.
Okay.
That you that I didn't know that you were gonna talk about this tonight, but like this is something that my mom and I have been talking about so much this past week, in the last 7 days, because we're making this whole grain bread out of grains that we mill and grind and crack ourselves, and so I just think it's really funny that we were thinking the same things this week. But I have more to say on that in a minute. But
so I think that, yeah, it is strange how
we do that a lot.
Like,
yeah.
But one of the things that I noticed in this passage that stands out to me as a preparation for the future is he set aside 20%.
Mm-hmm.
20% of the things that they brought in. 20% of the produce. Now, it's always been taught to me, hey, save 10% of your paycheck, right? Save 10%. But when times of famine, when economic crisis is looming, and I think that we're kind of seeing that more and more these days, it's kind of like an earthquake you see these little tremors and these little shakes that kind of give you the warning that, hey, the big one's coming. It's coming. Prepare yourself. And I think Pharaoh had those little shakes with the dream that he had, and with Joseph interpreting that dream. But when you have those little awakening moments, realizing that, hey, significant crisis is coming down the pike, double up on what you're doing. Double up during those good times. Double up during the plentiful
Bless you.
time.
There's Benadryl in the cabinet. You're welcome.
We got us sneezels. Double up during those times of plenty, so that you can be prepared when those struggles come, so that you can be prepared when the famine does hit.